Noise blank is amazing.
Incredible. Chalk and cheese.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's just
yeah.
Amazing.
Well, that's actually being shown on YouTube live at the moment. So no swearing.
Yeah.
No, seriously.
And you, Richard.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Just this time.
Not swearing. It wasn't safe.
Oh!
Excuse me?
Right, are we
Ready to roll? Okay. Well, everyone, welcome. Thank you very much for coming all this way, battling in the fog or however it was for you. Chris Ridley has done exactly the same all the way from Kent with the 7300. Am I right in saying it's still the only one in Europe?
It is, yeah.
There we go.
It's an American version. It hasn't got 4 metres on it, unfortunately, but
So
most of the other functions are the same.
pass you over to Chris, and again, thank you all for coming.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Here it is. Sorry, it's been a long time coming, but I think after this presentation, you'll agree it's worth waiting for. 7300. It's the first SDR radio from Icom, or the first from any of the big three manufacturers. Covers all the HF bands, 100 watts out, 6 metres, 100 watts out, and the European version covers 4 metres with 50 watts out. Touch screen, multiple menus which make it very easy to use. No need to keep referring to the manual, not that many amateurs do, I know, but I certainly don't. But okay, I'll start with the touch screen and then we'll work around some of the other functions as we go along. So, touch screen, so to change mode, simply press the mode icon there and you can change from sideband, CW, RTTY, AM, FM, and you've also got a data mode which allows you to input data from the rear panel. Filter is very similar to all the current Icom DSP radios in that you've got 3 preset filter positions, but you can tailor them to suit your own requirements. Simply press the adjust button, bandwidth, and you can alter the bandwidth from about 50 Hz right up to about 3.6. You can also alter the shape of the filter. You can either have a sharp filter or the traditional soft filter, which sort of is very similar to a crystal filter that a lot of people have got used to. The see the band scope incorporates a real-time band scope, which is a first for a radio in this price category. You can either have it centered on a particular frequency, so you're looking, the center of the screen is always the frequency you're tuned to, and you can alter the bandwidth from up to about 1 megahertz, from plus or minus 500. Also, you have waterfall display underneath, which you can turn off if you don't like it. Some people don't like the waterfall display, but I personally do, and it does make it very easy to differentiate weak signals. You can also have it centered across the band, so at the moment we're looking from 7 megahertz to 7.3, and you're looking across the whole band. But in addition, you can actually define your own band, so if you're interested in just CW only, you could just have that scanning the CW part of the band, or perhaps if you're interested in phone, just the top end of the band. Also allows you to program the scope for 5 megahertz, for instance, or any band within the HF range that you're interested in. Also incorporates an audio scope. This is the first menu, so press audio. So on the right there you've got amplitude, conventional audio scope, which you can alter the level and the time-based speed. And on the left you've got a audio band scope, so you can see the noise there. As you alter the filter bandwidth, you'll see the noise changes. So looking over a wider frequency range now. Again, that's also got a waterfall display on it, which allows you to distinguish amazingly weak signals right down into the noise. You can actually see on the waterfall display that you might not actually see them, or actually hear them. You probably wouldn't see them on the main scope. So the spectrum display, you can have a mini version of it, or you can turn it off altogether. So it just compresses the frequency readout. I'll go through the other menu items. Got a voice recorder. You can record up to 8 1.5 minute messages, CQs, standard sort of format. You just press the button to send them. You can have a full meter display, so it indicates power out, ALC, compression, SWR, current, drain current on the PA devices, temperature and supply volts. SWR function, that allows you to track across a predetermined part of the band, and you can establish what the natural SWR of your aerial is. You can define the steps and also the sort of resolution that you want. Memories, you've got 100 memory channels, plus a couple of band edge channels which you can obviously define yourself and also put alphanumeric tags on them. Scan, you can scan between two frequencies. You've got a memory pad button here which stores by default 5 frequencies last used, and then you can review those in the memory pad screen there. Tells you what frequency mode and filter bandwidth was used. Record function allows you to record QSOs, standard memory card. I think it's got about a 16 gig card, will give you about 2 days worth of recording. You can record either incoming audio or both, or just transmit and receive. You can configure it. You can also arrange so either it sticks everything in one file, or you have a separate file every time you press to talk. So.
Can you play back a recording
No.
over the air?
No.
You can't. Okay.
No.
A question we're often asked.
Are you taking questions?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Okay,
please do.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you export those audio recordings?
Yes, they're standard
AVI files.
WAV files, so you can play them on a PC. The SD card goes in here and just simply plugs in. Yeah, 16 gig.
Does it have a general coverage receiver, or is it just handheld?
Dent coverage from 30 kilohertz up to 74.
And how are the bandpass filters set? Are they being done on handbands, or?
No, they're spread right across. There's 15 bandpass filters, which is more than you normally get in a standard sort of superhead type radio. So just to reduce out of band interference, but they do follow on from one another. There's no gaps in the recovery. As standard, they don't have 5 megahertz enabled. Because the Japanese don't like putting a band on a radio that's not going to be permanent. I still don't think it's permanent, is it? 5 megahertz. I know you've had it for some time. Unless it's permanent and available to everyone, they won't fit it standard. So it's just a simple mod. Just you guys are going to do the mod, aren't you?
Yeah.
Just removing the diode to enable it.
Does the tuner work on meters as well?
Yes. Yeah, the European one, so that's an American version which doesn't. work on 4 meters, 50 watts out.
You mentioned RTTY before. Does it have a decode on the screen?
It's got RTTY decode, and you can transmit prepared macros. You can't plug a keyboard into it and sort of send in real time. But the fact it's so easy to interface with a PC, I think most people use a PC with plug it with a software to interface. It's got the standard. No.
So you've only got that screen there.
TFT?
No, there's no video out. One thing you can do is store screenshots. I'll put the band scope up. If you momentarily press the power button, it will capture the screen and store it on the SD card. So you can, it's a standard bitmap format, so you could export it or...
Well, you said that's the only one in the country. When
Yeah.
you expecting it?
By the end of the month, hopefully. Yeah. Yeah, we've been pushing the Japanese for them, so we're screaming and shouting for them. So.
I assume it's got PC impact controllers.
Yes, so it's got a USB-B socket on the back, and you can just interface it with the PC. There's audio and control in the same USB.
So that would give you your external display if you needed it.
Yeah.
In the RSB1 software description, it says it supports display for the 7300 as well on the website.
It will do. Yeah, I think you need a fairly fast sort of connection to.
The USB should do it.
Yeah.
Right.
So so effectively you could have a remote display. It's just that there's not a video out like on some of the software range models. So there's ways around it. Like most things.
Basically, it's the same feature as the 7600 or the 7850, right? You do that as well on the RSB one.
Yes. Yeah, I think it supports a few more commands. So you've got a thing like storing screenshots, and there's some extra commands in there, but essentially it's the same. And I think the BA1 software has been updated to work 73.
Because a new version just came out.
Yeah. So got the software before the radios. Any other questions before I go on?
What's the ADC?
Pardon?
What's the ADC?
Don't know. If you look at the circuit, it's just a box.
Yeah.
We tried to get the service manual out of the Japanese. We thought that might have a parts list, but it's the 2 devices that are in there aren't listed. So it's a bit of a mystery.
And it's covered with a heatsink.
Yes. Yeah.
So
we didn't really fancy taking this apart in case we couldn't get it back together again.
There's a Chinese guy that just posted pictures with one taken apart. But
right. We think it might be a Texas chip, but we don't really know. We're not even sure how many data lines and what the clock rate is. So we're hoping to get the service manual, which normally got a basic circuit description. But the trouble is with sort of digital stuff is that you can't just look at the circuit and say, oh, that does that and that does that. If you've just got a box, you've got an IC in there with about 400 odd pins, sort of RF going into it and data coming out. So unless you've got access to all the source code and everything, you don't really know exactly what's happening. But whatever's happening seems to work. So we'll leave it alone.
Will there be a program of firmware upgrades?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. You can upgrade it from the SD card. I would think there'd be quite a few upgrades actually. So normally, sort of, once the thing gets into the field, they find a few little niggles that people want rectified, and it's so easy to do.
Sorry, you said the upgrades were done
from the SD card, so you just download it from the Icom Japan website.
Yeah, and then
put it on your card.
Yeah,
And,
that's what I thought you said, but where is that one?
Yeah. So very, very easy to do. Right, a few more other functions. We've gone through record, and you've also got a set menu here, which is for all the things that maybe you just want to tweak initially and probably don't want to tweak every day. You've got things like the SD card, where you can look at the SD card info, tells you the size and how much space you've got left, and 275 hours recording time. You can display settings, the screen captures. I showed the captured screens are stored here, so if you want to call one up, that's something I recorded earlier. So let's get rid of that.
Sorry, another question. When you said the 2.5 hours of recording,
Yeah.
Does it record just the received audio or the whole band, like other software
It
packages?
doesn't record the whole band, just what you're listening to.
It's an audio recorder, doesn't it?
It's an audio recording, yeah.
Makes more sense, you know.
Other items you can set, you've got tone control, where you can configure the bandwidth on transmit and receive, independent settings for each band. Again, that's pretty sort of conventional, same as the current top of the range radios. You've got things like beat level, band edge beat, CIV functions, things that you might sort of set up once and then just leave.
Is the contrast and brightness of the display adjustable? I assume they are, but
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
I assume they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
ATU, Chris.
Yeah.
Tuning range.
Tuning range as standard without going to what they call emergency mode is up to about 3 to 1. It's a slightly different tuner to all the earlier Icom radios. The earlier Icom radios used a Pi network with 2 variable capacitors. This uses a relay switch capacitor inductance network, little network. The standard it'll match up to 3 to 1, but they do incorporate something called an emergency mode, which means it will match up to about 10 to 1, but it reduces the power up to about 50 watts. To be honest, if you're using a line matcher tuner with an SWR much higher than 3 to 1, you've got problems anyway. So, but in an emergency, let me just see if I can demonstrate that. Set others. Emergency. If you tick the box there, it says expand max matching ratio for emergencies. Output power is limited to 50 watts. Danger, never get too close to the antenna during TX. Okay, right, we've gone more or less through the menu button. Now you've got the function button here, which has got essentially all your switches, things like preamp, 2-stage preamp, attenuation, AGC speed. It's got 3 preset positions, but you can change them. Notch, you've got audio notch and an auto, audio notch, a manual audio notch and an auto notch. Noise blanker, noise reduction, which is amazingly effective. I don't know if I can demonstrate it on here. Let's try it. 40, it's normally pretty noisy. Nothing but noise, really. Listen to that. You can alter the threshold. Another feature you've got on the band scope is that you can actually touch it and change frequency. So if you touch it, it zooms in on the section. It's hard to show on this one. So if you touch on the section, it zooms in, and you can touch on the signal you want, and it automatically tunes the radio. Right, to the push buttons. We've got a new feature which is called IP Plus, which improves the strong signal handling of the A to D converter. Quite how it does it, we're not 100% sure. As I said before, it's just a box. You don't know exactly what goes on in there, but it might jiggle around with the sampling rate or knock off a couple of data lines. We're not too sure, but certainly seems to work anyway if you've got some really strong signals. Usual Vox speech compression, transmit bandwidth. You've got preset 3 bandwidth, mid, wide and narrow, and again you can tailor those to suit your own requirements. And the monitor, you actually monitor your audio in the speaker or headphones, probably better. We've got a quick menu button, which is quite a basic one, which is just record, start and meter type. Either indicates power. It's not really meter type, it's meter mode really, what it actually indicates. And finally, the other adjustment you've got is this multi-set button, which gives you your analog control. So you've got RF power, just touch on it to change your RF power, mic gain, speech compression level and monitor level.
I've got a question about the memory.
Yeah.
Does that actually store the power level?
No.
As well?
No. It will store the power level on each band, but it will remember the power setting on a particular band, either HF, 6 or 4, but it won't actually store that in memory. So any other questions? We'll go on.
About the filters, I know you have those filters, the 3 kHz or 2.4,
Yeah.
and then you have the passband tuning, which basically does the same thing because
Yeah.
the digital domain, we're in the digital domain anyway, so that filtering is basically the same thing. Just
Yeah. But obviously it's push a button rather than sort of tweak it. But the passband tuning you can alter and then just cancel it by pressing the button. I'll put it back to default.
yeah, but what are the two different settings for the same thing? Just to be friendly with it. People
I think it's a bit of a legacy thing, really.
Passband tuning's been around for about 25, 30 years,
People have got used to just
always had that, so they've kept it going on the
rather than having to go into a menu and set it up. And you've got a control on the front and you can adjust it.
It would be more intuitive, I think, for somebody that is not used to passband tuning, just to have the two sides of the filter and adjust them independently.
Yeah, well, they don't have to use it if they don't want to, I suppose. But yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, and I think there's another thing, you can do filtering in the FPGA or in the DSP chip.
Yeah.
Maybe they're different. I mean, one acts in the FPGA and the other one.
Yeah, the bulk of the filtering appears to be done at 36 kilohertz, which is sort of the standard frequency they've used on all their DSP radios. So I think that part of the circuit is fairly conventional, and also the RF transmission PA stage is fairly conventional. It's just the rest of it. It's completely different.
got a few questions from YouTube as we're streaming it live,
Right.
which I'm going to read out. They go on and on and on, I'm afraid. But how does the IC-7100 performance compare with the 7300 in the limited time that you've had it?
In the limited time we've had it, it's really hard to say, to be honest. As you know, we haven't got much in the way of aerials down at Herne Bay. I think it's probably best to wait until people have had more of an opportunity to...
Your initial impression?
I would say it was better in terms of features and perhaps ease of operation, but I think only time will tell.
Time will tell. One of the questions was, would this be suitable for a beginner?
Yes, I would say so, because it's so easy to use. You can see you don't really need to read the manual.
It's quite future-proof, I guess.
Yeah.
Will Peter Hart, Chris Lorrick be reviewing?
Yeah, I expect they'll be fighting over it.
Yeah. One of them came on and said, receive audio sounds very good. Why is that? Exactly. Yeah.
Because it's Icom.
I mean, when we came down, all the dealers were invited to the dealer launch of this on Tuesday. And when we take the sound and put it downstairs on bigger areas, you were here. The audio does sound really good from such a small speaker.
I think.
Sorry, I mean, first of all, it's in a typical Icom die-cast alloy chassis, and there's quite a big section given to the speaker that's put in it. But when you tune around this, you'll be able to do it downstairs. It is very, very good. Whether that's down to the real SDR receiver design, I don't know. But
I think that helps, and also, as you say, there's
an inherent attribute of Icom radio, because I've got Icom ham radios and I've got Icom marine radios, and they all sound
the audio sound good.
Yeah, and also the speakers in a separate compartment, so you don't get other screens and things rattling when you turn the audio up.
No, that's good. Razvan says hi to the big bloke in a brown jacket. See, I am really reading these out from the YouTube stream. We've got some more coming in here. How easy is it to set up the digital modes, Chris?
Very easy. What I think I'll do, I'll go through the sockets on the back so people can see what connections you've got. And unplug the power connector.
People commented on the audio being good, and that was on the live stream as well.
And there wasn't much in the way of signals, was there really?
Chef just said, I've just rung you, paper deposit, take my money. Keep going, Chris. You're not going home till Wednesday next week, mate.
Right. Okay, that's the rear of the radio. Power connector, one aerial socket. Socket for the Icom remote tuner or any other remote tuner. They still put on a couple of phono sockets for linear control, ALC.
Do you have a remote tuner as well as the inbuilt one?
That is for matching with aerials and wires. I mean, the tuner that's inside it is only really a line matcher. It's not really a tuner, it's a matcher.
Right.
For a remote tuner, you can have it at the base of an aerial.
Like an AH4 or something like that.
Yeah, which would actually tune the aerial. So a couple of phono sockets for linear switching. The switching device in there will switch about 16 volts at about half an amp, so it should be right for most modern linears, but if you've got an old TL922 or something, it might be struggling. Yeah. 1/4 inch jack for the key, that hasn't really changed for 50 years, has it?
Does it have an inbuilt key?
Yes, yeah, memory key. Yeah.
And a paddle.
An electronic key, yeah. You can configure it straight, keys, electronic, whatever you want. Audio out, standard 3.5 jack. It's got the CIV control if you need it. So USB-B socket. And a 13-pin DIN for all the analog outputs for audio, switching, ALC, everything's on there. But you're asking about using it on digital. It's very, very easy to use. You've got a setup menu there where you can configure what audio does what, where it comes from. You've got a dedicated digital mode where the mic's deactivated. and so just one USB connection to your PC and away you go.
Good. Can the audio, TX audio, be tailored? Well, obviously it can, but do you
Yes.
want to explain?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's done on the setup menu under tone control. TX audio, you can tailor it on the 3 modes. So you've got TX bass, TX treble. Then on sideband you've got transmit bandwidth, which you can go into and change using up down buttons. That's the widest position, sort of 100 Hertz to 2.9, but you can just play around with that to your heart's content.
Good. I have got one here from UAE that is, I can't read it because it's in Arabic. I have to pass on that one, I'm afraid. Any other questions for Chris?
So if you work in split operation on the waterfall, does it show you where the 2 VFOs are tuned to?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. If you've got the display where you've got the band edges, then you'll have a marker that appears, one for the main VFO and the other one for the sub VFO.
And would it be like that if you're just looking at a restricted part of the band?
Yes.
Say a 20 kHz slot?
Yeah, providing both the markers within that band, you can see them. Another useful thing on the band scope I haven't mentioned is that you can alter the sensor frequency. So you can either have the carrier point at the centre or the centre of the pass band, which is quite useful.
What does it compete against?
Well, it's in a field of its own really at the moment, I suppose. 991 is probably the... But it's not XDR.
That's not VHF and UHF, so they're in a different market. 12, 590.
590 perhaps.
Yeah, this is into a new league.
Yeah.
Has there been any information on its phase noise performance released yet?
Not detailed, no. Now, hopefully that's to come. I think there was some provisional data which appeared on the leaflet, but I think we'll wait until we've had some more measurements done. But by all accounts, it's very good.
One of the interesting questions, actually, we didn't even ask, has it got D-Star?
No. No.
How durable is the touch screen?
Hard to say. Early days.
Too early days.
We'd like to think, I mean, if it's like the other touch screens, they stood up pretty well, so I don't think there's any problems with it.
Are there any plans for a dual receiver version?
Just a matter of software update. I mean, that can be done with software.
Yeah, yeah, I think that would be my difference. But I would think this technology will find its way into a lot of other radios now. Yeah, so.
Chris, can you just confirm, in Japan there is a 10 watt and a 100 watt version, and a 50 I think as well, but the prices are so similar. Icom UK and the rest of Europe rightly thought that it wasn't worth bringing a 10 watt version in. Is that
No, that's right. Yeah,
so we're only going to have the 100 watt version for this country.
Yeah. I mean, if you're running off batteries, it only draws about 900 milliamps anyway on receive.
Yeah, what's the dynamic range in IP3? But I mean,
well, that's for a DSP, for an SDR radio, I don't think the third order intercept can really be measured. It's sort of a different sort of technology. I think they're doing different. I think it's a bit of a learning curve for the reviewers how they're going to actually measure it.
Certainly is. Right, any more questions? What we're going to do is disassemble this, go downstairs, put it on some bigger antennas, and you're welcome to crowd around it and have a fiddle with it before Chris goes and starts his real weekend, rather than being at yet another amateur radio event. Do you want to?
So, Chris,
thank you for the camera. Yeah.
Thanks a lot for coming along.
That's all right.
I enjoyed it. Yeah. Well, we enjoyed it on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So, thank you again for everyone coming.
Yeah.
And Chris, what we're going to do is we'll set it up downstairs.
Yeah, just tell the guys when we get to stop.
Yep. Stop will be due at the end of the month, so just after Easter. First deliveries will be coming in. Pre-orders are still being taken. Next deliveries will then be into April and the following month.
How many are you getting in?
The big question.
We've got a lot ordered. People have been ordering this for a year.
We're into three figures.
Orders. We're into well past three figures. Already. Have we not said that, have we? There you go. £1,049.95p. Considering they estimated it to be £1,000 when the exchange rate was much better than it is now. I thought that was very good to get that close. And when you compare it with other radios from other manufacturers, that's a very competitive price.
I heard a comment about 1,300–1,400.
Well, yeah, it was. I mean, you know, we didn't know till last Tuesday, and Icom didn't know till a week before, and they didn't tell us till midday Tuesday this week what the final selling price was. But we were all the dealers were very surprised they kept it down as low as that. If you actually tried to buy one of these in from America, you'll notice that providing you pay the VAT when it comes in, sometimes that didn't happen. Well, it's very difficult for that to happen, and you will be asked to pay VAT, as indeed you should do. It works out to be, I think it's £168 more. So the first time on record we're cheaper, which is strange.
And the post office handling charge.
And the handling charges, which has slipped in as well, and all the rest of it. So that's very good, and that's because the European dealers really fought hard to keep, you know, this £1,000 price leaked out quite a long time ago, and they've managed to keep it to as close as that as they can.
What's the basic dollar price?
I think it retails at £16.99, but they're already discounting it at £12.99 or £13.99. That's without that. Or shipping.
Yeah.
So I worked it all out, and it was a lot more than
things. It's equivalent dollar price, but
it's right.
very good deal.
The last one I saw was $140 shipping.
Yeah.
So, you know, and then that's every time. If there was any issues, you would have to
And then if it goes wrong, you've got to send it back to the
Not that it will, of course, but...
Right, so thank you guys. We're going to convene downstairs, and you can ask more questions if you need them. Thank you very Yeah, do you want to get in there? Shaking hands? Yes. Yeah, no problem. Right, you take that. Just pen through as well.
Chris. Oh, yes. I remember you.
Can we come on the front?
Anyway, nice to see you. Thank you.
Come in.
I think it'll always be K3.
We're hoping that this one will give us a
It'll be interesting if you do a comparison. Assuming you've got K3, have you? Yeah. I would imagine it stand up very well, actually, but it's all done differently. I've been looking at the circuit. You've got 32 hertz IF, and it goes straight into the processor, converted to analog again. It looks pretty clean.
Yeah,
Put it on
there we go.
Possibly not, but I can find someone who would probably be very, very interested in doing some professional brain testing.
Yeah. That would be very interesting. Yeah. You've tried it. I think it was down that pretty well. I don't know the Cambridge. A lot of people say the performance is good. I'll play with this and see what
How's that software?
Want to do a sign off for the people watching at home?
No, because we're going to actually start. Well, yes, but we're going to restart in about 10 minutes. You're going to grab yourself a lunch or something. Come back 15 minutes. We set up downstairs. We can ask more questions. So thank you for tuning in.